Hey, welcome back, everybody. Again, this is Jen Nelson, founder of LitPath Marketing, and welcome to this free video training series. So, in this first video, I'm going to teach you the 6 essential components of a good internet marketing strategy. What do you have to think about, have in place, and do to make sure that you get a good return on the time and money that you invest in your internet marketing strategy? I'm sure you've heard about businesses that are marketing online. They're leveraging Google and the search engines, and you've heard about these fantastic sales numbers in the business that they're able to accumulate. And you're thinking to yourself, I want some of that. I want a piece of that. Why not my business? Well, if you know anything about my history, I was in the same boat. I had a small insurance agency, and I was trying all of the traditional methods of advertising. I really didn't know where to start. So, based on advice from others, I started with internet leads where people go online, they put in all their information, and then the company sells that information to 4 or 5 different other insurance agents. And now you're chasing that person and trying to compete for their business, and they're getting calls from 5 different agents, and the people get frustrated. It's a horrible way to build a business, but I tried it. I also tried the Yellow Pages. That was on the advice of my dad, who had successfully built his business that way 25 years prior. I probably don't have to tell you how that worked out for me. I tried direct mail. Direct mail works. It's got about a 1 to 2% return. It's better if you telemarket with it. And I did try telemarketing, which I have to say is just a horrible way to have to make a living. People are rude. No, nobody wants to be interrupted, and most people are on do not call. And so the people that are left over, if they talk to you, it's probably because they're lonely. It's a tough way to build a business. And so I had to ask myself, how am I going to market my insurance agency online? And when I thought about it, how I had found my own agency, I realized that I had gone to Google and searched for an insurance agent in my local town and gone into their office and transacted the business in person. So, how could I make it so people would find me on Google? Was it social media? Did I need to optimize my website for the search engines? Or was it a different option like blogging or social media that was really going to make the difference in my business? So I started searching, and what I couldn't find is a roadmap of how to create a plan to market a small business like mine. There was no comprehensive guide, but I started finding different information on social media, on search engine optimization, on website development, and I started implementing it slowly, making a lot of mistakes along the way, and spending a ton of time and money really trying to figure out the best way to do it. And a couple of cool things started to happen. The first thing was that I was asked to be a guest blogger for tree.com, and I was shocked to find out that they actually wanted to pay me to write about life insurance for them. So that was a great opportunity that had come from my activity in social media. But then, more importantly, I noticed that more and more of my new customers were telling me that they had found my business online. So much so that by the time I had decided to sell the business in 2011, most of my new customers were finding me online. So when I was deciding what I was going to do next, I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be cool if I could find a way to help other businesses with what I've learned and give them that roadmap that I was missing? So what I developed was the LitPath Marketing 6 C's of Internet Marketing, and that's what you see before you here. It starts in the center with consider strategy right here. And for most businesses who are just getting started, I suggest that they go to the top, start with collect clicks, go around to create credibility, capture leads, convert, and cultivate community. But I wanted this model to be really dynamic, so that's why you see all the arrows, because really, once you have your strategy, you can sort of exit the circle wherever you need to, depending on what your current web presence is looking like. So let's start with consider strategy. What are the most important components of a good strategy for your internet marketing? Well, the first thing is you need to understand what your current presence is looking like. Do you have a website? What does it look like? Is it optimized correctly? Is your business and website listed in local business directories? Are you on social media? The second thing you need to figure out is your competition analysis. If you're not getting business online, then someone is. So you need to figure out who's getting your business, and then you need to figure out how they're getting your business so that you can beat them. And later on in this presentation, I'm really going to show you a couple of industry tools that marketing agencies use in order to help do this competition analysis so that you can concentrate on beating your competition. The next thing you need to understand is what success looks like for you. And this is different for different businesses. Sometimes the goal of marketing is just to create brand awareness. Sometimes the goal is to get a lead. Sometimes it's to get people to call or walk into your business. And sometimes the goal is to actually complete the sale online. So you need to understand what success looks like because that's going to change some of the actions that you take. And the last thing is you need to make sure that you're measuring your success. You can't manage what you can't measure. So if you don't have the proper analytics in place, if you're not using tracking phone numbers so you know which leads come from your internet marketing activities, you're making a big mistake because you really won't have any way of knowing how successful you're being. The next thing is to collect clicks. I call clicks the currency of the internet. The click is when somebody chooses to visit your website and possibly do business with you. So when someone, for example, is searching for a plumber in Toronto, there are three different kinds of listings that they could potentially see on the search engine results page, and they are all here. One is the organic listings, and these are just websites where the text on the website is matching plumbers in Toronto. So you'll see there's two companies that are showing up here. And to get on the first page of Google for your organic listings, that takes the most time because you have to optimize your website in order for Google to see you as relevant. But we'll get a little bit more into that later. The next thing is the local listings. Most pages already have what's called a Google Plus Local. It used to be called Place Pages. A Google Plus Local page. And if you don't, you can create one for your business. And those pages are all associated with a location on the map. So Google serves up these results. They don't always look like this. There aren't always 7 of them. Sometimes there's 3, 5, 7. It changes all the time, but sometimes it looks like this. Sometimes the map's up over here, though. And then sponsored listings. These are paid ads where people pay every time someone clicks on one of these ads. Also, I should mention that Facebook has an advertising platform as well where you'll see ads down the side of your Facebook page. And these ads, the difference between Google ads and Facebook ads is that Google ads are really based more on the search. The ads are served up based on what people are looking for in Google, whereas with Facebook, they're served up depending on who people are. You can really use demographic information to target people, where they live, how old they are, what their interests are, because people put a ton of personal information in Facebook. And you should know that Facebook rather is providing that information to marketers so that they can show you these ads. So, how do you rank in these various different local, organic, and sponsored listings? So, with local listings, the first key is to fully fill out your Google Plus local page. When you go in and optimize that page, when you claim your page, it's going to ask you the name of your business, the address, the phone number, your hours of operation, what types of payments you take, what areas you service, all this information. You can upload videos, you can upload pictures, and the more information you fill out on that page, the higher ranked you'll be. The second thing is citations. Fancy word for how many places online your name, address, and phone number is listed. This is where there's big directories like Yellow Pages.com, Super Pages. Also, there's Angie's List and Service Magic. Lots of places that aggregate listings of businesses. And then there's lots of smaller local directories as well. So how many citations you have is very important. And again, all a citation is anywhere online that your business name, address, and phone number is listed. And it's very important that those 3 things be the same across all of those different listings. The next thing is reviews. How many times have you seen online where there's reviews, be it Yelp or Insider Pages or even right on Google? Customers can go on and review your business, and those reviews also help rank you in the local listings. And website strength. which didn't used to be a big ranking factor, but is more and more. And I'll talk more about that here with the organic listings. So, in order for your page to show up organically, there's two things that Google uses to determine how they're going to show. One is website relevance. So, for example, if someone types in the keyword plumber in Toronto, Google wants to serve up results that are relevant to that person. So they are going to look for sites that talk about plumbers in Toronto and plumbing issues and helpful tips about plumbing, but you better have Toronto on there as well, because if you don't, they won't see you as relevant. You know, people wouldn't use Google if they search for plumber in Toronto and they got websites for plumbers in Alberta, Canada. People would say, Google doesn't give me relevant results. I'm not using it because it's not a good tool. Relevance is very important. And the way to make your website look relevant to Google is to make sure that your website talks about things that people are searching for, and that's keyword optimization. And there's some things that are right on the page where people can read, and there's things also in the back end site in the code that have to be optimized. And the last thing that Google looks at is website importance, and how Google determines what websites are important and what aren't is how many people have linked to your website. So for example, if I write a blog about home improvement and I talk about common plumbing problems and you have a great article about that on your website and you're a plumber, I could link to that article as a resource for my readers because I value your content. So Google would see that link as a vote of confidence for the information that's on your website. And the more votes of confidence you get, the more important they see you as and the higher you rank in the listing. So optimization and links are very important. The sponsored listing, this is a money game. You're going to pay for every time somebody clicks. And there are some other things like keyword relevance. You know, Google doesn't want you bidding on keywords and then your site's not about that. So paying for ad space is definitely a way to get traffic to your website, but it does cost you. Facebook advertising is a little bit cheaper though. Sponsored listings. These are paid ads. The most important factor in how you rank here is how much money you pay for each click. And this is a great way to get traffic to your website as long as you're making sure that you monitor your conversions. You want to make sure that your ads are compelling so that people actually click on them. And you want to make sure that your content on your website is relevant to the ad and relevant to the keyword that you are bidding on. You will actually pay less per click if Google sees that you have a good click-through ratio and that your ads are relevant to your content on your website. So the good thing about the local listings and the organic listings is that they're free, but optimization of them does take time. Whereas if you pay, you can get results quicker. You can also test things as long as you make sure that you set your budget and you're monitoring your results. So the next thing is create credibility. And why is this important? Well, once you get people to your website, you want them to understand why they should do business with you. You want to be seen as credible in their eyes and not, people tend to be a little skeptical of online stuff. So you want to make sure that you're seen as credible. So the first way you do that is reviews, and you'll see this. There's a lot of duplication between some of these areas because reviews crops up when we talk about local search and showing up in the local listings, but it shows up here too. It's very important that you manage your reputation. There's lots of different websites where people can go on and leave reviews, so you want to make sure that you're monitoring the locations where your business is listed and that you're responding appropriately, especially to negative reviews if you have any out there. The next thing that you can do is create and distribute content. And by that I mean writing a blog, producing audio or video content, ebooks, white papers or special reports. And this is where people start to disengage from me a little bit, so hang in there with me because this is where you do need to do some work. You need to produce something and you need to give it away to people. You want to create value so that they see you as a trusted resource. This is how you're really going to start building a relationship with these people so that they want to do business with you in the future. But if you don't want to write or produce something yourself, you can do what I call content curation, which is you go out there and you look at the content that other people have made and you recommend resources to people. That can be valuable as well. It's not the ideal situation. Ideally, you really want to create original content, but it is an option, the content curation. The word used to be ask and you shall receive. With internet marketing, it's give and you shall receive. The more you give people, the more they'll trust you and the more they'll be willing to do business with you in the future. The next thing is to capture leads. So now you've got people coming to your website, you're creating a relationship with them, you're giving them valuable content, they're loving you. You want to make sure that you're capturing their information in some format so that you can continue to market to these people on an ongoing basis. And the ways that I would recommend doing that are either with a newsletter or email list. And I would suggest using a service like MailChimp or iContact. You need to use a service for your email marketing because there are regulations that need to be complied with, and these services will keep you compliant with them. Also, you want to avoid being marked as spam by the email internet service providers. And these services have good relationships with the email providers so that your messages get through more often. For some businesses, though, text messaging makes more sense than email. Text messaging is great. People still read their text messages, whereas they don't always read every email that comes into their box. So if you have a business where you can send out specials to get people into your place, this works well for retail and restaurant type businesses. Text messaging also works well for service businesses, appointment reminders, and things like that. You want to start getting people to opt into your text messaging list. Some people want to capture leads on social media by, for example, getting Facebook fans or Twitter followers. I don't recommend this as a primary strategy because you don't own the list. You're subject to the terms of service. So, for example, let's say you spend a lot of time and energy building up a Twitter following and you're sending promotional messages, you're adding tons of value to them, your Twitter followers love you. Twitter could tomorrow decide that they want an advertising platform like Facebook has, and they could change their terms of service to say that you can no longer send out promotional messages. If you could just lose all of that time and effort that you put into building that list. So I am always an advocate of owning your list. Once you have your list, say an email list, you could always drive them over to social media, but I recommend having a list that you control where you're not subject to the terms of service of a social media platform. And always provide value or you will lose your list. People will not stay with you if you send them promotional message after promotional message. If you're constantly asking them to buy something and never providing any value, people will unsubscribe. So you need to provide value. That is the most important thing. Convert. This is where you turn your leads into sales. Measurement is really important here, and I suggest that you use a tracking phone number. And what a tracking phone number is it's a phone number that you would use in all of your internet properties because we talked about citations where the name, address, and phone number has to be the same everywhere online. This phone number would then tell you every time a phone call came in from this number, you would know it was from an online source. So you'd be able to track the effectiveness of your online marketing campaign. Also, Google Analytics is a free software that Google offers that you can install a little snippet of code on your website or have your webmaster do it for you. And it tells you where your visitors are coming from, how long they're staying on your site, how many pages they're visiting. It gives you a ton of information about how your website is converting the people that are visiting it. And for small businesses, the conversion often happens on offline. So when people call or walk in, and you need to make sure that you're really honest about how good you and your people are at converting leads into sales. If you're not closing the sale, if you're not asking for the sale, if your business isn't set up to handle an influx of new business, then you need to fix those issues first before you do a big marketing campaign because there's no reason to expose a bunch of consumers to a business that's not ready. And the last thing is to cultivate community. Now, a lot of people try to start here first. They go and they put up a Facebook fan page and they start posting about their latest special, their latest promotion, about how great their service is. They waste a lot of time and it doesn't work because that's not really how social media works. The good news is that customers who engage with businesses on social media are more loyal, but they're often looking for exclusive perks and opportunities that aren't available to other customers. So it's a great place to institute a rewards program. But you need to remember it's not about what you're putting out there. It's about what you're getting back from people. It's about engagement. So it's not just about posting or tweeting out your latest, promotion or sale or whatever the case may be, because you remember that people are on Facebook catching up with friends and family, catching up on the latest gossip. Social media is kind of like the new town square. People aren't looking for a new solution to their problem or business to do business with. They're trying to get the latest gossip and check out who had a baby and who got married and that kind of stuff. Again, you want to build a community, you want to engage with them, you want to make them feel special, you want to give them things that they wouldn't ordinarily get if they hadn't engaged with you on social media. But you do need a following first. I mean, if you don't have an audience, then there's nobody to engage with, which is why I encourage you to do other things like, build an email list or a text messaging list first. And you can always drive those people over to your social media presence by offering them those exclusive perks and opportunities that they're looking for. So here's where I tell you about the tools to beat your competition. And there's an old joke that there's two people walking in the woods, two campers walking in the woods, and they come across a bear, and the bear rears up on its hind legs, and they're both frozen and paralyzed with fear. And the first camper says to the second one, "Man, I'm sure glad I ran my running shoes today." And the second camper says, "Running shoes? You can't outrun a bear." The first camper says, "I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you." So the reason I say that is you don't have to outrun the bear. You don't have to be perfect in your internet presence, but you do have to beat the competition. So I'm going to show you two tools. One is called SEO Quake and one is called White Spark, that will help you do that. And I'm going to exit out of my presentation and actually go to my browser. And I'm opening up Firefox. Now, I don't use Internet Explorer for this. SEO Quake is an extension, it's free. You can search for it and download it, but it only works with either Mozilla Firefox or Chrome, Google's browser. I'm pretty sure. Let me just search for it and see if I'm pretty sure they don't have a version for Internet Explorer, but I'll check for you guys real quick. Okay, so Firefox, Chrome, Opera, and Safari. So I use it with Firefox. So let's go back to our plumbers. Remember we were talking about plumbers in Toronto, and I really want to use Google here. Now notice I'm not going to type a location. See over here it says East Hanover, New Jersey. If I can click change location, but it says auto detected. Google knows where you are based on your IP address, which for your non-techies is just your network address. Google knows your physical location. So even if I don't put a town in my search, it's going to give me local results. And here, see here, the map is over here. These are my SEO Quake bars. So once you've installed SEO Quake, it's going to give you these bars. And I'm actually going to turn it off for right now because I don't need it and it can kind of get in the way. Okay, that looks better. So now this looks normal. I'll turn it back on in a minute. So here's our plumber results, and here's our Google Maps, our local results that we were looking for. And so let's say you're a plumber, you're not even on here. So you want to beat this Right Way Plumbing guy because he's got the #1 position. So how do you figure out what you need to do to beat him? Well, first of all, that's interesting. See 11 Melanie Lane, 11 Melanie Lane, and this is waterheatersnj.com. I'm willing to bet that Right Way Plumbing and Water Heaters NJ is the same company. They're probably working with a marketing firm who decided to go after a niche, a water heaters niche for them. And I bet you if I click on this, oh yeah, they're definitely working with a marketing firm. I bet you this is a tracking number. So that's interesting. But be that, and they have 3 reviews here, no reviews here, but be that as it may, let's click on their Google Plus page and see what we got to do to beat them. Okay, so photos. They have none. Well, they have one, right? You can have up to 10, so they're missing an opportunity. You can also have videos. You can have 5 videos. Now, Google is in the process of changing this over from the old platform, and I don't think videos are showing up yet, but you can still upload them in the back end of this. And how you, if you were Right Way Plumbing, you would just click Manage Your Business, Manage This Page, and you could claim the page and make changes to it. So okay, by adding more pictures, you could beat them. They don't have a lot of information here on their about page. They have their hours, they have a statement, but they're missing a lot of details on here. So that's one way you can beat them. You could also add more pictures and videos, like I said. Citations. Remember, we talked about citations as being very important. Now, this is where White Spark comes in. Google used to tell you how many citations a business had, but they don't tell you that anymore. So we use this tool called a local citation finder. This is whitespark.com. They're a Canadian company. You go over to SEO services and click on local SEO, and you click on their local citation finder tool. Now you can sign up for a free account. It's a little bit more limited than their other paid accounts, but most cases will meet your purposes. I'm going to log into my account. Okay. And I'm going to click on the local citation finder. Now, I usually search by phone number, so you can also do this for yourself, by the way. But in this case, you're going to take the phone number of the company you're trying to beat, and you're going to enter in their name, and you're going to search. Now, I already performed this search, and it's still pending. So I'm actually going to pause the video and come back and show you the results. Okay, I'm back. So good news and bad news. Bad news first, the free version that I was suggesting you guys sign up for is no longer what it used to be. You just don't get enough information in this free version for it to be useful any longer. So I do have to recommend that you pay for this $20 a month version. You don't have to pay $20 a month forever. I can't see any reason why you would, need it forever, but I do suggest you do it for at least 1 month so you can see where you are. You might want to continue subscribing to the service if you think you're going to continue some ongoing monitoring, but if you just want to get a snapshot, then you are going to have to pay $20, and I would suggest you run as many reports as you can in that first month, and then you can decide if you want to continue monitoring because there is a monitoring component of the service. So go ahead, come to this website. You can sign up, put your credit card. They're a reputable company. I feel comfortable in recommending them, and pay the $20. So the cool thing is, the good news is, with the $20, you can run comparison reports between yourself and other companies, and that's very valuable. So this is the company that we were looking at beating, and this company is just another plumber in town that I chose that is not on the first page of Google. So you see, when you run this comparison, you can see the check marks mean that both of these businesses are in Merchant Circle. But when you get down here, our Russo guys who aren't on the first page, they're not in Yellow Book. They're not in localanswers.com or Yellowbot or any of these other websites. Well, they're probably not going to get a citation on Right Way Plumbing's site. But Show Me Local, Local Life. Now, some of these sites are going to be more valuable than others, but what you can do is go down the list, and everywhere where you see your competitor is listed and you're not, try to get a citation on that site. That is the best way to use WhiteSpark, and you see there's a whole bunch of them. And you just go to these websites that are local guides that list businesses, and you try to get yourself a listing on the site. Some of them you're going to be able to do, and some of them you aren't. So that's the deal with Whitespark. The other thing you can do is go in and view the list, and all of this is you can export to Excel as a CSV file. Here's the actual list, but actually the comparison is really the most valuable thing, and that's where I recommend you start. Okay, now we are going to talk about SEO Quake again. And the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my SEO Quake is enabled over here. So I clicked on that to turn it back on. And we're going to go to this Right Way Plumbing's website and figure out how to evaluate their website. So the first thing I want to do is, remember we talked about keyword optimization and making sure that the page was optimized. The way we look at how the page is optimized for keywords is by clicking on this diagnosis up here, because SEO Quake gives you this toolbar. And each of these sections here, it gives you a little analysis. And I'm going to warn you, this gets a little technical. I'm not going into the heavy details of this, and maybe that'll be a subject of another training that I do for you guys. But I did want to just show you this tool is out there, and it might be a good discussion for you to have with your web developer. But it analyzes everything from the web address to the title, the description they have of their site, the keywords that they're trying to optimize for. They have way too many. That's just crazy. And it goes into headings and certain types of code. These are called H1 tags, H2 tags, images. It looks at a lot of different things on the site, how the site is structured, if they have certain files that make it easy for the search engines to find the site, which, by the way, they don't. Overall, and if you click on these advice buttons, it tells you what kind of attention it deserves, if the solution is easy or hard, and it tells you a little bit about the item. So it's a good education if you just wanted to analyze your own site and how your site is set up, and what things you may want to talk to your webmaster about. So that's how you look at the on-page optimization. Basically, there's a lot of red X's, so I would say that this isn't a tough site to beat. They're making a lot of mistakes here. The next thing is to go back to their website, and we want to look here. When you hover over this, you get the number of links. Remember, we talked about links as being very important in how the search engines see the importance of the site. In this case, they only have 2 other sites that are linking to theirs, so that's very easy to beat. You can go out and get 5, 10, 20 links very easily. So that's SEO Quake. I promised I was going to show you. Those are 2 tools that we use in the marketing industry every day. Sometimes with Whitespark, we're using a paid version that gives more information, lets you compare different companies against one another. But if you're doing this yourself and you want to save yourself some time and effort, that's definitely the way to go. So you don't have to try to outrun the bear. And I want you to come back for our next training. The next training, I'm going to talk about the top 5 internet marketing myths. And video marketing is huge. I'm going to show you a cool way to produce a video and upload it to YouTube in about 5 minutes. You don't need a camera, you don't need a microphone, you don't need to license music. It's all taken care of for you actually by Google. It's pretty cool. And make sure you sign up to receive notification of our next training if you haven't already done that. And just go to our website at www.litpathmarketing.com. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about or comments, leave them in the comment box below. I'm going to be reviewing the questions and answering them personally. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this training. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you got a lot out of it. Again, if you have questions or any feedback for me, just leave it in the comments box below, and I'd be glad to answer your questions. Don't forget to watch out in the next couple of days for the next training video on the top 5 myths about internet marketing.